Hello and welcome back to the second installment of Twerk Tuesday. Today we are going to be working on some dynamic stretches to improve our mobility in our psoas, the front, the side, the back, because that is the part of the body that we need to be open and malleable in order to create effective hip isolations or twerking. Once we do our dynamic stretching routine and we get nice and warm, then we are going to use some of the breath connection techniques that we worked on last week to now start to actually do some twerk basics now that we have opened up. Next week we will be working on strength, as that is also an integral part of this, but for today we're just working on opening and improving our overall mobility in the hip area so that we can get our greatest range of motion in our hip isolations, okay? So let's go ahead and get right into it. You may wanna have a mat or a cushion underneath you, as we're gonna be doing some things where we have our knees on the ground. If you need that, go ahead and pause the video and get them now. Otherwise, let's go ahead and get into it. We are going to start by putting one leg in front, and you wanna line up your knee and your ankle. So at no point do we wanna be with our knee further in front of our ankle, because that's gonna put stress on the knee joint. Actually, in this position, you can put your ankle a little bit in front, because we are going to be sending our weight forward and then back, okay? So just get comfortable in this stretch a moment. And if this feels like easy to you, like you don't feel too intense of a stretch and you want to intensify it, you can go ahead and put your hands on the ground. And that way, when you go back, you're also going to be getting a little nice stretch in the back of the hip flexor and the hamstring. So whichever variation you do, when we come forward, we're trying to drop the front of the hip down to the ground and then coming back. And we're just gonna move through this, not moving too fast, also not moving too slow, because this is dynamic stretching and not static. So having the hips, the hip flexors and the legs really nice and warmed up and stretched makes a huge difference in our ability to create hip isolations. Good. And now I'm gonna have you stay in the same position. You're gonna turn sideways. And now you're gonna do the same thing, but to the side. And for this one, I do stay in an upright position. I don't think putting the hands on the ground is necessary here. And I do encourage you to connect to your breathing as you do this. Think about delivering oxygen to your muscles. And let's go ahead and switch sides. One foot in front. So like I said, you can stay upright for this, or if you want a more intense stretch, you can bring the hands down to the ground. When you do that, trying to be conscious of keeping your spine in a neutral position. So we don't want to be hands down on the ground with the spine in a contracted position. We're trying to keep it nice and lengthened. Trying to bring the front of the hip down as close to the ground as possible and pulling back. And let's go ahead and rotate. And we go to the side. As you do this too, make sure that your hips are square facing forward, that they're not rotated in either direction, keeping the spine nice and tall, because another piece of hip isolations is being able to separate the upper and the lower spine, so that when we do hip isolations, we're not also getting into the thoracic and the cervical. So these dynamic stretches are also a good opportunity for you to focus on kind of letting your upper body, your upper torso just kind of float. Okay, we're gonna do active pigeon. So you can do this from a full lunge or a half lunge, whichever feels more comfortable to you. But we're gonna have our hands on either side of our front foot. So you're not gonna be like this. We're making a foot sandwich. And here we're just going to go out onto the outside of that foot and then drive the knee right back into the armpit. You're gonna go here and armpit. Keeping that back leg nice and energized. We're really just now opening up the outside of the hip flexor, which is where I personally have the most tightness. You can see my knee doesn't go very far. And let's go ahead and switch sides. Great. And now we are going to do some alternating lunges. So you're going to go from this lunge, this full lunge, we're going to rotate into a low lunge or a side lunge. I'm not sure what this is called. We're going to work our way over to the other side. We're going to go into a lunge on this side, and then we're going to come back. So we rotate, we switch, and we rotate. And we switch, and we switch, and we rotate. This is also my warm-up for leg day, so in case you're needing that in your life, this is really good for that as well. Okay, and now we're going to just come into a wide parallel second position, and if you can put your hands on the ground. If you can't, maybe put something in front of you to hold on to, and we're going to just alternate bending one knee and then the other. Connecting to your breath. And now bending both knees and straightening. And as you straighten, try and send your head down toward the floor. Bend and lift. Think that you're lifting your tailbone up toward the ceiling. Bend, lift up toward the ceiling. Okay, and we're gonna finish with one more outer hip flexor stretch. So this exercise is good to do with socks on, but I did not bring socks today. I'm gonna just grab so you can use a cushion or a towel, or this is what I had. So I'm gonna put that underneath my foot so that my foot can slide. And what we're gonna do is cross one leg over the opposite thigh like this. And then you can put your hands behind you, but try and keep your spine nice and lifted. And you're gonna bend the knee and you're gonna come down. Like I said, this is my Achilles heel, this stretch. Good, and let's go ahead and switch legs. And you're trying to actively kind of push your knee down toward the floor as the heel comes up. Okay, let's go ahead now that we're all warmed up and mobilized. Again, if you need to, you can put a cushion under your knees, and we're just gonna sit here on our heels with our legs open a little bit. So if they're here, you're not gonna be able to isolate. So get to kind of a position where your knees are open, you feel like your hip, the ball of your hip is kind of relaxing into the socket. So you should be kind of free and open of free of any tension that might be created from being in this position. So go ahead and take a second to find where you're comfortable. And now we are going to use our breath. I'll show you from the side and then from the back. We're going to use the idea that we talked about last week about connecting the deep core and the breath. And now we're going to try and use that deep core connection in a way that doesn't necessarily connect to the breath, because we're going to be doing it faster, but trying to get that same feeling of releasing fully, pushing it out, and then bringing the belly button in. So we're just gonna try that. So we're gonna go release, and then we're gonna bring it in. And release it all the way, and bring it in. And we're gonna try and do it now, as you can see, in a more staccato fashion. So I'm not now, like I said, connecting it with my breath. That's a good exercise in the beginning to get you to feel those deep core muscles, but now we're gonna be doing it a little bit faster. So I'm gonna lift my arm so you can see. So I'm gonna go release and in, and release and in, and release. So we're not even thinking about moving the hips. We're thinking about that deep core releasing and coming in. And you see, as a result, my hips, my pelvis moves. It tilts in one direction and then in the other. Okay, I'm gonna do it facing away. Don't think about the hips, just think about the core, okay? We go. Release, contract. Release, contract. Release, you can even lift up a little bit if you want to. Contract. Release, contract. It doesn't have to be a big movement. We're just thinking about the low core, not about the hips, about the core. And just the low back. So trying to make sure also that you're not doing this, right? Because we're just thinking about the low core. Okay? Now I want you to use those oblique muscles that we worked on with the block, and just try and lift one side of your butt up off your heel and then the other. And now let's go ahead and make our way up to a standing position. And we're gonna do the same thing standing, okay? So standing with our knees slightly bent, again, not at the point where you feel like you're doing a squat, where you're feeling tension in your legs, just bend your legs slightly. And we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna just release the low belly and then bring the belly button in toward the spine. And release, bring it in. Release, and don't think about the hips, just about that connection to the low core. And as you go with this, you'll start to feel that you're hitting a wall on either side, and that your legs are able to stay nice and relaxed because you're creating everything from the core. So we go release, release, which is what helps us get that kind of rebound action with the skin and the muscles in the leg, is that if the legs are really clenched, then I can't get that. But if I feel like my legs are relaxed and I'm using my core to create the movement, then I get that nice rebound action that we want. And you want to just start to feel that when you release, you're hitting a wall, that you can't go any further. Pull in, release, pull in, release, pull in, release. Not thinking about the hips, just thinking about that connection to the low core. And as you can see, it's a super small movement. I'm not trying to make it big. I'm trying to make it profound, okay? We're gonna do one last iteration of this, which is coming down to having your hands on your upper thighs. Again, the hands are on the upper thighs to kind of help me stay composed in the upper body. So what I don't want to do is something like this. So I'm actually pulling my shoulder blades down to place pressure into the thighs, not with the arms, but with the entirety of my back. And from here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go release, contract, release, contract, release, contract, keeping your mind connected only to the low core. Contract, release, contract, release, contract. Keeping those shoulder blades pushing down toward your thighs. Okay? I'll show you from the back. So we go here, pull the shoulder blades down. Make sure you're not curved. Our spine is in neutral. And I'm gonna go. Release, small movement. Release the belly, bring the belly button in. Release the belly, bring it in. Okay, we can also do that movement where we're using the obliques to pull the hip up in one direction and then the other. Feeling that connection in the core. And same thing. Here, we're going lift on one side, lift on the other side. Keep the scapula pulling down. You're just isolating that deep core. Okay. So that was our lesson for today. If during this class you were starting to feel like your legs were shaking or your thighs are getting tired, fear not. Next week we're going to be addressing some strengthening exercises that are going to help you build the muscles in the right places so that you can support yourself while you do your hip isolations and your lack of strength isn't going to limit your ability. We will also next week be adding more different types of hip isolation movements. We'll be doing that little by little as we go through these series so that you can feel that you continue to connect to the muscles and the mobility and the strength that you need to create really stunning hip isolations. So that is all for today. Until next time, keep dancing.
Thank you so much for watching. It means more to me than you know. Don't forget to subscribe so we can keep this going together. And when you're ready to go deeper with me, everything is waiting for you in the description below. You can join my Patreon community for exclusive weekly content, explore the dancer method if you're ready to transform the way you move and live, or come dance with me in person on one of my Mexico retreats. There's something for everyone at every level, wherever you are in your journey, and I would love to have you. See you soon.